Hey guys, welcome back to 25 Sweetpeas. Today I have a swatch video for the brand new Jubilee Holiday 2018 collection from Zoya. So let's get right into the swatches. First up, we are going to start with Kiara, which is a purple cream. I think it is absolutely a lovely cream at that. And this one truly is just a straight up purple. There's no blue tones, there's no pink tones. It's just a good classic purpley shade. So there is one coat. As you can see, it applies really well, very evenly. And I mean, honestly, I can't see my nail line whatsoever. So in a pinch, you could be done with just one coat. But we will go ahead and do a second so you guys can just see what happens with the second. Okay, it is now time for the second coat of Kiara. Again, I just love this purple, and this one is such a good holiday party dress purple, if that makes sense. It's just very festive. I think of New Year's Eve and get-togethers and pretty dresses. So there is 2 coats, and it is definitely full coverage. Next up, we have Danika, which is a dark, very, very dark teal cream. Again, another lovely, good, well-pigmented polish that you're going to get great coverage in just one coat. As you guys can see, covered really well. It is still a tad bit sheer in spots near my tip of my nail, so we are going to let that dry and apply a second coat. Okay, it is time for that second coat of Danika. And I will have the spelling in the side in the corner of the video just so you guys can see if it's spelt correctly, if it is your name, because I know there's a lot of different ways that you can spell Danika and numerous other names. So this is the one that is D-A-N-I-C-A. So there is 2 coats of Danika and such a lovely deep dark teal, perfect for winter and actually fall. Now we have Cookie, and Cookie is a pixie dust actually, and this one is a pretty purple pixie with some golden glitters in it. So if you guys aren't familiar with pixie dust are textured nail polishes, and they are ones that are meant to be textured, so top coat really isn't a thing when you think about pixie polishes, but of course you can do it. So there is one coat, and it has a really good coverage. Now you guys just let me go in and tap the edge of my nail, and that is because with a pixie polish, sometimes the little textured particles that are in the polish hang off the edge of the nail, so to prevent from them drying there and then snagging on your clothes, I always like to go and just kind of tap them in and wipe them off, so that I don't have that. So as you can see, it is textured. I think you guys can see the texture possibly, and I know you guys can see that glitter, the golden glitter in there. It is so pretty. These also dry down to a matte finish, which is what kind of helps the texture look neat from afar, if that makes sense. You put on top coat, of course it looks pretty, but it's no longer than a pixie polish. It's just a polish with a shiny top coat. So wearing it matte definitely does look cool, and it is the way that it is intended to be worn, but of course you can do top coat. I did both, and we'll have pictures on the blog so you guys can kind of see what it looks like with top coat. But there is one coat of Cookie, and I'm going to go ahead and put on the second now because as you guys can see, that is dry. It is down to its matte finish, and it is a super lovely purple pixie. I am really impressed with these pixies. I've had some of their smaller pixies in the past, then I've had the ones that had the bigger chunks in it that were big holo glitters. I love those, but this one just has the right amount of medium-sized glitters where you've got those golden ones picking up in the lower parts of the nails rather than the high parts of the texture, and it is just really pretty. So there is 2 coats of Cookie. Now we're moving on to another Pixie, and actually this is the final Pixie in this collection, and this one is called a Juniper. It is a deep teal shade, but then it's got blue and purple glitters in this one, and it is just absolutely stunning. That being said, I do have to warn you guys that this one does stain. I'm not sure it's gonna stain in the amount of time that I've just put it on for this little swatch section, but when I did wear this polish, I doubled up on base coats to kind of prevent from any staining, because I have a tendency to have these type of teal polishes to stain, so I kind of played on the safe side and did 2 base coats. However, that did not work, and it still did stain to an extent, so you might want to go 2 or 3 on this one. And I was wearing a peel off base and a base coat, so I thought I was going to be safe, but not so much. But there is 1 coat, and as you can see, it is really lovely, super thick and pigmented. Like, I don't need a second coat, but we are going to try a second coat real quick. And again, I love this polish. I just don't love that it stains my nails. So I'm definitely going to have to find a way to wear it. Maybe I need to do 3 or 4 base coats. I'm not sure. The 2 did not work, but we'll figure something out eventually. So there is 2 coats of Juniper. Next up, we have a brown cream, and this one is called Katteri. I could be pronouncing that wrong, so be sure to check out the text in the corner. It will say the name. This one is just super, super dark. Like, from afar, somebody might mistake it as a black, but it is not. It is just a really, really dark brown polish. Super great formula. You guys can see how pigmented that went on. I can no longer see through to my nail line, and there's definitely no reason for a second coat, but like I said, we're going to try it anyway. It's time for the second coat of Katteri. And again, I love this brown. This is super great because I feel like in the winter, sometimes you want a brown polish for like nail art, or you just want something different rather than a black polish in place of like a nail art base. And this dark brown would totally work for that. You could use this for so much. And of course, you can wear it on its own and it's gonna look lovely. Pair it with a gold accent nail and that would be super fun. So there is 2 coats of Katteri. Next up is Astrid. Astrid is kind of a warm gold foil. This could be used as a topper if you wanted to. So here is 1 coat. As you can see, it covers really well, but if you wanted to put this on top of like a nude like polish, something like sandy, you could, and then you'd be done. I mean, you could even put this on top of like a holo gold or something and build it up to something completely different. But there is 1 coat, great coverage, and we are going to build it up to 2 for complete coverage. Now it's time for that second coat of Astrid. Astrid is just totally like one of those glitzy glam polishes that is super fun. Like, I could totally see this being like a New Year's Eve type polish. Actually, I need to like keep this out somewhere so I remember to use it for like a New Year's Eve mani, because I feel like this is just so powerful and beautiful. And again, it makes a great accent nail, just so you know. There's probably a picture on my blog with it being used as an accent nail, because just look at that shimmer glittery gorgeousness. I love it. Next up, we have a polish called Lee, and this one is kind of just a warm neutral. This one, the description says it pulls a little pink, but I don't really get that. I actually get a peachy pull, but that could be due to the fact that my skin tone kind of pulls a little red. But there is 1 coat. As you can see, it is a tiny bit streaky, but that's not like, it's not going to be an issue. So there is 1 coat. Now the second coat of Lee will bring us to full coverage, and this one is just a really good like neutral color. You could use this for nail art. You could use this as just a plain neutral manicure if you don't want anything major color committed on your nails for like if you have a whole bunch of parties you need to go to and you want something neutral that you won't have to feel like you need to change your nail polish every day. This is something that would just kind of go with everything. So there is 2 coats of Lee. Now we're moving on to Carson, and Carson is a kind of a mauve-y neutral shade, I would say. It definitely does pull a little pink, a mauve pink of that. And this one is just such a nice creamy formula, as you guys can see, that applied really well. You are going to need 2 coats though. So there is the first coat. Now we're on to our second coat of Carson, which will bring us to full coverage. This one is just such a nice neutral, and for some reason it makes me think of like a cozy, oversized sweater, which just sounds great. Granted, not right now because it was like 90s today, but there is 2 coats of Carson. Now we're moving on to a beauty called Maxine, and this is kind of a pink toned red of the collection, which, I mean, you had to know there was going to be some sort of red polish. But honestly, even though the description does say red, I see more pink in it than anything. It's like a bright, vibrant pink with a hint of red almost, but yet in my swatches, the pictures do look red. It's just a confusing one, I suppose. Either way, it is beautiful, and there's one coat. As you guys can see, that was super pigmented. You can kind of see very, 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 very faintly through to the nail line. So we're gonna want to do that second coat, you know, just for that final cushy feeling of having 2. But such a great formula. Okay, it's time for our second coat of Maxine, which again, I absolutely love. It is such a vibrant, happy, red, pink polish. There is 2 coats, and you definitely have full coverage, and this one dries down to such a glossy finish, and I feel like Astrid that we tried on earlier would be a great little accent to this one. So there is 2 coats. Next up, and lastly for the creams, actually, we have Allison, and this is a berry toned pink, I would say. It is a really lovely color, and it's like perfect for fall and winter. So there is one coat. Again, great formula, very similar formula to the last one that we put on, and it is absolutely lovely and super vibrant. Now it is time for our second coat. And that is definitely going to bring you to full coverage, and it is just such a lovely berry toned pink. So there is your 2 coats of Allison. Next up we have Tarun, which is a lovely color. This one is like a vibrant pink with a purple to blue shimmer, and it is just lovely. I don't recall ever using a polish quite like this one with this like shimmer combination and the vibrancy of this, and it is absolutely lovely. I think you guys are really getting to see that purple blue shimmer in there. Now I say blue and I feel like you probably can only see the purple, but like when you're looking at it in the bottle, you can see the blue shimmer in the top, and it is really pretty. So there is 1 coat. We're going to do a second coat of Tarun, and I mean basically the first one covered it all, but this one will just like finalize it. If there were any spots that were a little translucent, this will definitely take care of that, and you will have full coverage in 2 coats. And this is an absolute beauty. So next up, we're doing something a little different. So this collection includes a new topper, and it is called Leopard Spots, and it behaves differently on different polishes. So we're going to try it 3 different ways. So the first way, we're going to be showing it to you on the new Pixie Dust called Cookie, which is the purple. This one is a darker color, so I thought it would also be fun to go over a lighter option, which is on this nail. This is an older Pixie Dust release, and this one is called Godiva. Then, even though the topper is meant for a textured polish, I decided I would go ahead and show you what would happen with it on a cream, which is right here. And this one is also from the new collection, and this one is Carson that we swatched earlier. So we are going to do just that now. As I mentioned earlier, the topper is meant to be applied onto a textured polish, so we are going to get the best results with this nail and this one. And we are going to do just that. So the topper is black, as you guys saw earlier in the video. And what you want to do is put a light coat on the nail all over, and then you're going to let it dry. This is very, very reminiscent of Crackle that was like popular, I don't remember how many years ago, now, but it was a thing in the past. But this time it breaks up into little smaller fragments, as you guys can see, which is why they call it leopard, because it's like a leopard print, which is super fun. So as it dries, it will become more defined as well, but since this is a darker polish, I feared that it would be a little trickier to see on camera. There will be pictures that you will be able to see where it is very defined lines and everything, but that is why we're going to try it on the top of Godiva in the middle. So let's do what we just did. Now, one thing I did notice, this pixie right here isn't as textured as the purple pixie, so I'm not sure how it's going to react, or if it will react as well, or whatever, but you definitely want to try to do a thin coat of the polish just so it has less to distribute. And there is that. We're going to let that dry kind of on camera as well. And it's actually doing really well. I might have pulled it a little too fast towards the end, and should have done it a little thicker maybe, or whatever. But it is doing really well. This one, the spots are a little bit more elongated, and that probably does actually have to do with the fact that this polish isn't as textured as this one. So the more texture on the nail, the more spots you're going to get. So it's actually a really good contrast and still looks really cool on both nails. I do love the smaller dots though on this nail. So now we're going to try it on regular polish. This is not meant for regular polish, but I thought it would be fun to see what it does anyway. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to treat it exactly the same way and try to not have too much polish on the brush and just kind of swipe it over the whole nail. And as you can see, this dries super fast and goes down to a matte finish. Like, whoa, that went really fast. So, okay guys, that looks pretty cool. That is very, very, very reminiscent of Crackle. However, you guys may or may not notice what just happened. So basically, it was on top of a cream polish, and as it shrinks, it actually kind of pulls the polish with it. So you will notice kind of some shrinkage of the polish on the inside. I'm just going to try to use a brush here and point to what I'm talking about. So like this little area, you can kind of tell that it pulled the polish towards the black. So if you didn't have like a completely full coverage polish on underneath, you're definitely going to want to maybe double up. I'm not sure that will really help, but it will tend to make these little parts more sheer than they were originally because it does pull that polish into the underneath of the topper. Now, that does still look really cool. I wouldn't consider this nail Leopard Spots. I would consider this more like the whole Crackle craze a few years ago, whereas I would definitely consider this one right here leopard print. This one on the verge, but this is a pixie. This is a textured polish. So technically, that is one of the meant to be worn ways, as is this. This one is not really the intended use for this polish, but it does work if you kind of want more of like almost a giraffe print. So there are 3 different ways to use the new leopard topper. Not actually 3 different. There's only 2 different here. You know what I mean though. So I did find some other fun ways to use it though. So be sure to check out the blog and maybe a video in the upcoming days. I really want to do a whole video on just different ways to wear this topper. If that is something you guys are interested in, let me know in the comments below and we will definitely get on that. So here is a quick look at the topper over both of the new Pixies. And here's your final look at all of the polishes. As you can tell, this collection is really well-rounded in my opinion. It's got a little bit of everything and something for everyone. This collection will be releasing on October 8th, so that is just around the corner, believe it or not. And I'm really impressed with it, and I think it makes for a super fun holiday collection. So all the links that you may need or want will be in the description box below, as well as a link to today's blog post, which will have a more thorough review and even more photos for you guys to check out. So that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!